Welcome to Politically Basic. I'm your host, Kyle Campbell. As we always do, we're breaking down the basics of all political issues and current political events so that you get to decide. Politics and culture have never intersected more powerfully and intricately than they do today. Culture drives politics traditionally, and politics drives culture in reality. I'd say let's unpack all of that, but team, I don't enjoy unpacking. It's not my favorite, so instead I'm going to go with let's unwrap all of that, because honestly, unwrapping something is so much more fun. So let's get to it with my guest today, Daniel Tobin. It's Daniel Speaks Up on socials and host of Coffee Talk and Common Sense. He's a Philadelphia-born, America First conservative commentator, activist, and media personality who most definitely is not afraid to challenge expectations. As one of the most recognizable gay voices in the conservative movement, he's built a following by encouraging people to think independently rather than follow political labels. Daniel's a makeup artist by day and political commentator by night. Raised in one of America's bluest cities, he's never been afraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and think independently. And he's here to share an exclusive update on his work with us today. I'm so excited. Daniel, thanks for coming on Politically Basic and sharing with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. We love two blondes. We love blondes.
It is so fun to be blonde, truly. I mean, people can hate on it, but it's a good time. I will never change the blonde, ever, ever.
We have more fun.
So fun, so fun. Well, this is off to a great start. I'm so thrilled that you're here with me today. Share with my audience just a little bit about you. What's your background and how in the world did you get into talking politics and popular culture with such a huge audience?
It's so, first of all, thank you so much for having me. But this is so crazy to me because I never got into politics when I was younger. I mean, it wasn't even a thing, right? Even when I was 18, I had my first election. And, we'll talk about that a little later. But for me, it was always the beauty community. I was always into acting. I was always with, makeup artists. And it was infatuating to me. And especially in 2016, when the whole makeup industry blew up, I was like, these are my people. I was like, I found my people. But I never really fit in so much, right? I come from a big family. I have 6 brothers and sisters. I have to, really get in there if I want to, get my point across or, challenge an idea. So I'm not, it's not foreign to me to make my voice heard because you're going to hear it whether you like it or you don't. And, for me, politics was always the center of something that I thought was very demonic, right? I thought it was something that only people that wanted greed, wanted money. That's what that politics looks to me, that politics world. And for me, I was like, I kept putting it off. I never joined the debate team. I was always stuck in my way. And 2020 rolls around, and it's actually when I woke up. So COVID was a huge year for, I think, the red wave, as we like to call it, because we saw our president fight for us every single day during something that was so horrific and got here from China, which we know. And this person was so vilified to me that when I was 18, I voted for Hillary Clinton. I know. And it was something that I regret a lot. And I don't say I regret it, but it was something that I didn't really know too much about. And this Trump figure, it was like they vilified this man so much to me that a gay, at that point, I was a little gay boy in Philly. I'm thinking he wants nothing to do with me. The Republicans want nothing to do with me. But for some reason, I have all these conservative ideas. Fast forward to 2025. It was summer of 2025, and I followed somebody in the beauty community, and this person was a gay boy too, and he said that his family was being hunted down by ICE, and they're being kidnapped, and they're going to schools, and it's all from his family. Can you imagine? Well, his video got taken down because he was lying. Go figure. So for me, I'm going into work. It's 8 a.m. I'm in my Uber, and I'm so annoyed and angry because I know the truth, right? I know that he was lying. And at this point, it's 8 a.m. I'm yelling outside of my work and I'm making a video about illegal immigration. Ever since then, everything was up from there. And then sadly, we lost Charlie Kirk in September of 25. And he was somebody that I would watch hours and hours of his footage, of his debates, and everything that he would say, almost everything, I would agree with. And I'm like, I have to unleash this somewhere. You know how you have that fire in your stomach and you got to like let it out somewhere? Well, that was me with social media. But I was always scared because in the beauty community, we lean very left. They lean very left, right? So I'm like, I don't have a place, but you know what? I made it. And ever since then, you know, I woke up one day on TikTok and had 100,000 followers. I was like, I don't, I don't know what to do with this, but you're going to hear my truth. And the rest is future.
Wow. Well, I love it. Where are you just in terms of your work and how so you're in the beauty community, you're a makeup artist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
By day.
and by day, yeah. And then where does this fit in, this political commentary? How does that fit into your world now?
You know, I almost call my followers and like people that, you know, are a part of my community, I call them like my therapy, right? So when I'm making a video, it's something that I either have thought about for a long time, wanted to react to, or I just want people to wake up and see that, yes, it doesn't matter whether you're gay or straight or fat or skinny or, you know, black or white. It doesn't matter. And I think one thing that people get misconstrued, especially in social media, is that you're being this grifter, right? I get that comment all the time. I'm a grifter. Trump would hate me. The Republicans hate me. Yet, when I made my video about going to the Charlie Kirk vigil, I went to two, it was on Fox News with Jesse Waters. And I says, but guys, like I go to these events and I'm with these quote unquote MAGA people. I'm with these people every day. I'm talking to them every day. We don't talk about anything other than a better life for America and the love of country. Okay. I always say, Kyle, I always say being gay, okay, you're gonna know that I'm gay. There is no don't ask, don't tell, because you're gonna know, and it is what it is. And I don't need to tell you 1,000 times a day, and I don't need to fight for something that has been fought for. Yes, there has been people that have fought before. In 2026, what a great time to be alive. What a great time to be an American. Can you imagine being over in North Korea? Can you imagine? So I say all that to say, I almost I have a little bit of an advantage to my side, because if I'm doing makeup, that's my escape from any of the hoopla that's going on. So anybody that thinks they're getting under my skin with comments or anything, I'm built for this, okay? I'm true to this. I ain't new to this, okay? I grew up on social media. I know how this is. But doing makeup is a really good escape from all the hoopla that goes on in the political world.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so you're a fighter and you're tough, and I love that. And you there's a remarkable characteristic to people who feel like they have to be in one political lane, that a certain political party kind of owns, right? Owns the gays, or they own the trans, or they own popular culture, the music industry, actors, celebrities. And for you to break out of that and think independently is really remarkable, and a testament to your intellect and to your strength. So good on you there. But when you're doing makeup, this is what I know. I've had my makeup done several times. You're chatting with people, right? So when you're doing makeup, you're talking about all the things. Do politics come up when you're doing makeup for your clients?
You know, sometimes they do. And it's something to where, for me, I think I have a personality that I wouldn't call myself an empath so much, because I really think you have to be more strong than people would think, right? Especially being a gay man in Philly, wearing the makeup, wearing the nails, you have to have this level of strength, right? So I say gay people are, really strong if you really put your head on. When you talk with these people and they bring up their certain concerns, okay, a lot of them, yes, it's economy, and yes, it's this whole democratic hoax of affordability, and yes, it's the whole thing, but they come down, and I gotta tell you, people are more conservative than you may think, okay? And they don't even realize it. But In 2026, again, you're villainizing a whole party and calling them Nazis and fascists and racist and homophobic and transphobic and xenophobic and sexist and all the things. Well, when I talk to these people daily, day to day, and they're telling me about their, they're going through cancer and they're going through this one and this one's over here with kids and the baby daddy left and all that. I hear it all. Oh, I hear it all. I'll listen. I want to listen. I want all the tea. When I listen to these people talk, they actually kind of verified to me that in Philly and in Jersey, people are a lot more conservative than the media and the numbers show. And they don't want to align themselves. I mean, look at what Jasmine Crockett said a couple weeks ago when she said, well, we're more conservative than you think, but we can't align ourselves with them. It's not aligning. It's your true where's your morals and your values? These people that I'm talking to every day are everyday people going to a wedding, going to a birthday, going to, a bar mitzvah, going wherever they're going. And they just want to release that energy. And I'm there to talk. Now, there are some times where we may butt heads, but I think that's where you move on and bring it back to 2008 when Barack Obama and, John McCain didn't get along, but he could say, you know what? You're not going to call him an Arab. You're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Bring that back. Bring decency back. It's easy.
We're all people. We're all human beings at the end of the day. And I always say there's so much more that connects us than divides us. But Daniel, do you think that a lot of Democrats are really Republicans at heart, but they're just afraid to identify as conservative?
Absolutely. When you hear people say that I'm fiscally conservative but socially liberal, that means they don't want to hurt your feelings. And that means they don't want to tell you that there's only two genders. That means they don't want to tell you that gay marriage may be a sin in their religion. It's horrible to say these things these days because, again, you're taking that person and you're villainizing them into the point of, I can't have a conversation with somebody if you're automatically going to call me a Nazi or you're automatically going to call me racist. And guess what? In 2026, those words, I mean, I got to tell you, they don't really mean a lot anymore. At one time they did, okay? But when you keep saying the same thing over again, expecting different results, I mean, that's insanity. That's insanity. So these Democrats that are talking about, free markets and capitalism, and they're bringing these things up. There is a rise of democratic socialism, I understand, but there is that level of people really just want to go to work, get home, and then there's people that I know in Philly that just want to leech off the government and never work a day in their life. But they're pro-life, they're pro-markets, there's things that they actually agree with, conservatives on. They just can't admit it.
No, we're into some respects we're still stuck in that 2016 mentality, right? Like you voted for Hillary. You have your reasoning for doing that, but there was such a mindset and such an overwhelming expectation that she'd win by a landslide. But people really, deep in their hearts, knew that was a terrible choice. It just wasn't a good choice for our country, and they were afraid to say it. But they wanted Trump, and that's what happened. So it's interesting to hear you talk about this. What do you think about Trump and how he's doing in this second administration, his second term, which seems vastly different from the first term?
It does. It does seem vastly different. I understand the perspective that people will say, his first term, everything was great and he wasn't. I think the second time around, okay, he's learned so much within his first term and the 4 years that was stolen from him that he understands. Let me take it back, though. He's a businessman. He knows how to delegate. He can do 10 things at once. What do you learn in leadership? You delegate your tasks and you have your team up under you. Okay. So when we think of Trump, and it's a whole social media thing, because I think social media and real life are two very different things. Because I think on social media, you're seeing, well, he's worried about this country and that country, and he's not America first. I mean, look at what MTG says. Look at what the Candace says, and this one, and Tucker, and everybody. But for me, when you really step back and realize what he's actually doing for America. And yes, he's delegating a lot of this to his team. I mean, in May, we added 172,000 jobs, okay? Within March and April, it was 93,000 jobs growth from where they thought we were going to be. Okay. When you look at things like Trump RX, I know I take medication. If I didn't work full time and have health insurance, guess what? I would have utilized Trump RX as well. Some of my medication goes for $1,000. I can get it on Trump RX today for $35. Okay. So these are things that are helping everyday Americans, whether they want to admit it or not. Right. We'll look at what he did when he came in. He closed the border. Do I believe that he's going as strong as he can this second, these couple months after the Renee Good and Alex Preddy conversations? No, I don't think he's going as, hard as he could. I don't see mass deportations like we're supposed to be seeing, like we know that we have to be seeing. I mean, let's look at the one big beautiful bill. Okay. Some people called it the one big ugly bill, but guess what? I can tell you that 29 million Americans, okay, have no tax on overtime from this go round. Do you understand? So it's these little things that are America first, that MTG and all these people, and I respect it. Look, everybody has their First Amendment. I respect it. But when you think of these things, and there's no border crossings, there's nobody taking American jobs from overseas, and they're coming in, illegal aliens, they're not taking our jobs anymore. We have a long way to go, don't get me wrong. But when we see that unemployment stayed at 4.3% for last month, when we see that, core inflation is at 2.8%, when we see headline core inflation is 3.8% year over year, these are kind of things that he's working on, and it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, you and I remember when he first got in office, what did they say? Egg prices were through the roof. He's like, what the hell goes on with eggs? Let me figure out the eggs. He figured out the eggs. He put Department of Agriculture right on it. Okay. But if I'm going to look back at the 500 days that he's been in, okay, work and family tax cuts, we secured the border, we lowered crime rates. American energy is back. We're dominant again. People are not taking advantage of us again. However, yes, we've been spending a little bit of time on other countries, and I think we have to figure that part out. But I think he plays 5D chess, and I think he's going to get it under control.
I think they should bring you on, Daniel, as a spokesperson for the administration. You're one sharp guy, and you know your stats. But let's talk about some of those things that maybe are distractions or he's being criticized over right now. You mentioned ICE and what happened in Minnesota. It definitely, I do think it had an impact on the aggressiveness with which they are now pursuing this deportation rate. Tom Homan has kind of stepped aside, and they're bringing new leadership forward. What do you think the general sense about immigration, illegal immigration, deportations, and how he should continue through the rest of his term with regard to that? What do you think about that?
I would love to say, let's all give hugs and kisses and bring everybody in and let everybody do what they got to do. I got to tell you, send them all back. Send them back with their families. Send them all back, every single one of them, because guess what? It hinders American citizens. Okay. When you seen him at the State of the Union address and you saw him, and he played this well. Okay, let me tell you something. He played this well. Okay. When he's talking about American citizens are over our priority over illegal immigrants, and the Democrats sat there. If one person was to vote for Democrats in the midterms, you're a hypocrite. Okay. So when we think about ICE, and we think about in 2024 alone, we had 149,000 deportations. Okay. Deportations. Biden, 4 years, had 600,000 deportations. I'm sorry, for fiscal year 25, we had 442,000 deportations. Okay. This is a man who sees a problem, and they're leeching off our system. Okay, they're going to the ER whenever they want. They're going over here, and they're taking all of our public safety away. These people are violent people. Okay, not all of them. Don't get me wrong. A large percentage of them are violent people. They're not set. Okay, you're not going to get from Mexico. You're not going to get a Scala. Okay, be an Elon Musk. You're not going to get that. You're going to get the murderer that's on the street that we got to figure it out. And I think the one person that understands and says, you know what, your feelings, not for nothing, they really don't matter to me, is President Donald J. Trump. Okay. And he will come in and tell you that listen, when Biden let in upwards of 20 million people came across that border under his watch, under the border czar, Kamala Harris, under her watch, 20 million people, okay, taking our jobs and subsidizing from the American taxpayer? I don't think so, okay? And if you want to be the person that says, well, they pay 90 million or $90 billion in taxes. Guess what? They take more than they do. And I don't know. I put my tinfoil hat on, but I don't really think these people are paying too much in taxes over here. Because guess what? They don't have Social Security. So, I think we got to pump the brakes when we talk about that. And guess what? If you're going to be so very less than smart, I'm going to be nice, less than smart, and go out and try to be in Newark at Delaney Hall and put yourself in another situation that could potentially end up like Renee Good or Alex Preddy. I gotta fix my words here. You're very less than smart. You're very dumb, actually. You're dumb, okay? Because we've seen it, all right? History will repeat itself. You put yourself in harm's way, you're gonna find out. And I don't want that to happen. But these people have become so radicalized from the left. The left is telling these people that it's so inhumane. And, Bernie, actually, he came around a little bit. Bernie Sanders came around and said, we're not a country without borders. So but these people like these Jasmine Crockett's that are really prominent voices, AOC on the left, that are telling you that big King Trump, here he comes, big boogeyman Trump, is taking all these people and just throwing them away. We can't be a proper country without borders. These people need to wake up and understand ICE is here. They're not going anywhere. And they just passed the bill for ICE, so we're funded.
Yeah, that is good news. Yeah, it's an interesting shift we've seen, Daniel, that the sort of political leadership class is pretty removed from the day-to-day consequences of these decisions, right? They have security, yet they don't want you to have guns. They have walls and fences around their giant properties, but they want to let everyone into this country. They don't want to go to work and pass legislation, but they still want to get paid, while TSA agents aren't getting paid and customs and border agents aren't getting paid because they won't pass the bills. It's very, very we're sort of living in this real double standard, rules for thee and not for me kind of an era right now. And I think that's having an effect on everyday voters. And we're seeing that. I mean, I'm out in California. We had this primary a little while ago, and everyone's looking at the coloration of that map, right? That's a red map. And you might be seeing it out there, in Pennsylvania too. More people are conservative than you think as the Democrats get farther and farther away from the center and logic and reality. So it's interesting to watch, and people are very slow to wake up to this, right? They want to hold on to that
very
narrative,
slow.
that mentality. You're being very diplomatic in calling them less than smart. I appreciate your diplomacy.
Listen, because you know what? I have been in that headspace before, right? I have been in that leftist mindset where I thought, here comes big boogeyman over here. Maxine Waters is doing us really good. Yeah. And then here comes Hillary. She's going to take all the guns. Oh, perfect. We've solved the gun problem. No, that's not how it works. Okay. This is 2026, and we really need to really get into the minds of the independent voter. If we're going to talk about, midterms, I don't want to jump ahead, but if we want to talk about the midterms and going into that, we really need to get into the minds of the independent voter. Okay. These independent voters. And like you said, I have the theory that no states are blue. Okay. All states are red. It's all cities that are blue. Okay. Because you have these people, and even, let's think about Philly. They don't call it a sanctuary city, but they call it a welcoming city. Guess what? You're not fooling us. Okay. We're not being fooled anymore. Okay. Again, back to the State of the Union, when you have these people literally sitting down, I don't care who's saying that we should put American citizens over these illegal immigrants. Guess what? I'm standing for as long as I need to. I'm actually going to give you a standing ovation. How's that? And listen, when you have these cities that are so overrun, look at Chicago. Look at the cesspool of crime that Chicago is. Okay? When we think of the numbers that are coming out of Chicago with these people that are murderers, all right, we need to figure it out. And if you don't want President Trump's help, Look at what he did with the new city bill that he came out with the package for grants for cities that, you know, these mayors and these people can actually sign up for, the Model City Initiative. They're focusing on this crime, okay? We are at the expense, us American citizens are at the expense of everything. This couple years, let me tell you something, we cannot afford, okay, and I don't want to play partisan politics here, but I'm going to play it, and guess what? You like it or you don't. We cannot afford to have a Democratic president in 2028, okay? I know I'm saying a lot, but I think Trump is really figuring out what exactly America needs. It's America that's uncomfortable with it, but when you look at the statistics, they don't lie sometimes.
That's true. That's true. The numbers are usually pretty right on. I mean, that gets confirmed every time we have a primary or an election. And we've got midterms coming up. Most people are thinking that, you know, economic issues, kitchen table issues are going to drive. I think that's pretty right. But we seem to be culturally having a difficult time recognizing the good that's coming out of this administration. And mayors, representatives, and governors really trying to figure out ways to protect criminals, to keep things more expensive, keep things unsafe, not clean up their communities. And we're just sort of got these blinders on, like, nope, I don't want to think about that. I just want to think about ways that, you know, Trump is evil. And one of the things, Daniel, that we have not worked through yet, that is still a major issue in this country, is this problem of biological boys playing in girls' sports. I know you want to talk about it. I see your face. Go. Say all the things.
My thing is, first of all, let me just start off by saying, I don't care what a transgender person does. You could do it if you're an adult. If you are over 18 and you can make your decisions, do what you got to do. No hate to you. All right? I have very young nieces. Okay? Very young. Okay? Under 13. One just turned 13. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Now listen, if a boy was in their sport, okay, and they're telling, and listen, I'll have a whole thing on the parents too, because I got something to say about them too, because we're seeing an uprising of kids overtaking their parents, and it's crazy. We know that biologically we are different creatures, okay? I don't care if it's a feminine boy, tomboy over here. I don't care if it's Tom, Dick, or Harry. We are very different creatures. It is what it is, right? So muscle mass, bone density, lung capacity, all the things that you've heard before. It's very, very true. I don't know why. Well, I have an idea of why these schools are indoctrinating kids, okay? The left is very motivated, I guess, to focus on inclusion and identity. Well, guess what? You guys also focus on participating trophies, okay? If you just participate, you get a trophy. Well, guess what? You're doing a disservice to a lot of the young girls that are really uncomfortable with these little boys in these locker rooms, okay? We've seen it. We see it every single day. Now, you may say to me, well, you know, it's only 0.1% of the population. Guess what? That's 0.1 too much. Okay? My brother, he's a very good boxer in Philly. If he was to get in the ring, okay, with a woman, I could only imagine that woman would be wrecked and annihilated. Do we want that? The answer is no. So feminists are actually talking out both sides of their behinds, and they're telling you that, guess what? We care about women, yet you want biological men to compete with your kids in sports. How does that make sense? It doesn't. And again, the Democrats that are focused on DEI and everybody's included and all of this, you're actually putting people at more of a disservice than you may think. And these women that feel uncomfortable in the locker rooms, I could only imagine, listen, not even just the sports, but transgender as a whole. Like, for me, a woman is a very special creature, okay? You guys get to, birth life. You're not a chest feeder, you're a breastfeeder. You're not a birthing person, you're a mom, okay? Women are very special people. And, I lost my mom when I was 6 years old. I could only, it was crazy because when I see people that are very disrespectful or, they hate their mom or they don't have a good relationship with their mom, it's like, it drives me
Yeah.
insane knowing that I don't have mine. So like these parents nowadays are, if you're in school and you tell your guidance counselor that you're transgender, the parents should be the first call.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one. And again, it just puts our girls at a disadvantage. I mean, all of the biological differences, whether you want to admit that they're there or not, they're there. It's happening. It's biological reality. And this is where the left loses me. And you need someone like me that looks like me to talk about it, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have a gay man that says that. They want all inclusion and things. I want inclusion. I want merit-based inclusion. Is that too much to ask? I don't get it.
No, you're 100% right on all of those points. Biological sex is not immutable. You cannot take a boy and completely, fully transition him into a girl. And I guess we're only relying on the science during COVID, and we're not going to rely on the science now. But if you look at all the evidence, if you're just dealing with fact and with biological fact, scientific fact, transgenderism is not anything you can ever complete.
No,
and
I mean,
we're harming these poor children. And when it comes to the boys and girls sports too, I have a real issue with one we have out here in California who has been just absolutely dominating the high school track and field sport. And you mentioned the parents, and I want to ask you about the parents' responsibility here too, because this kid's mom has been on the rampage lecturing everyone about how they should be showing kindness to her son, while her son goes out there and steals every medal, record, and opportunity from all of these girls who are working really hard trying to make their way in this sport. But I'd love to hear from you on the parents' responsibility in this too.
First of all, that's crazy. Second of all, I'll give you a small little story from even yesterday. I work in the public. I, do makeup, all the things, right? I swear to you, he had to have been 8 or 9 years old. Little boy. Skirt, pride, flag, the whole thing. The parent looked utterly, is that a word? Utterly,
Yeah.
just so uncomfortable. Uncomfortable that this is exactly what's happening. Parents are not parents anymore. Okay. If my mom was alive, the things that would come out of these little kids' mouths, she would be beside herself. Okay. And I think it's parents' duty to talk to your kids. Okay. Don't sit there and sugarcoat and make them feel good and all the things and give them a participant trophy. That's not how real life works. Because guess what? When they enter the workforce at 18, some of them 16, some of them even younger, with summer jobs, when they enter the workforce and they see real life people talk to them a real life way, they're not going to go home crying to mommy. Okay. They got to take care of it themselves. So these schools and these, progressive leftist, I guess, indoctrinating teachers that have pride flags everywhere and everything. These people are literally shaping the next generation, and our youth, they're shaping them to be the next leaders, the next doctors, the next lawyers. Can you imagine what Gen Z looks like as a doctor? I mean, I'll never forget, and it's not going to come to me where it was, but they were on the stand and it was a doctor. And when the person asked them, what is a woman? She couldn't even answer. This is a doctor. Okay. To round all that up, Kyle, when I die, okay, let's say I die tomorrow, God forbid. When they dig me up in 100 years for some reason, they're going to know that I was a man, okay? They're not going to see no French tips. They ain't going to see no makeup. Guess what they're going to see? Bone mass, and they're going to do the scientific thing that they do, and they're going to know that I was a man. Okay. So I need these leftists and progressives to actually tell the truth for once and actually work on telling us the actual truth to the American people, because you've been lying to us for many, many, many years. And I only see it getting worse.
I've talked to people who are gay, who say that the lesbian and gay community does not want to be associated with the trans community anymore. The LGBT, they just want to remove the T, not remove it, separate. You want to separate from the trans community. And when you think about that, it does not make sense necessarily that would all be lumped together in the first place, right?
At all. Why is sexuality and identity together? Okay. Because guess what? Let me tell you something. There was a real period in time, and thank God for everybody that, fought for things. But there was a real period of time where they looked at gay people like they were like pedophiles and they were this, and they have all the stigmas attached to them. Right. Well, guess what we did? We woke up and we understood that it's two men, two women that love each other and call it a day. Yeah. Well, now you have transgender and queer and all these different things. I can't even name the 38,000 things that they got going on. And then when you ask somebody a very simple question with, hey, how many genders are there? They can't even answer you. How crazy is that? Can you imagine if this was 1960 and somebody said there was more than two genders? Can you imagine? They would look at you like you're the less than smart person. Okay.
You go to the mental institution. You'd go have a nice little stay and you'd get your head straight.
Yes, here in Philly, people listening from Philly, they'll know. You'll go right to Friends Hospital over there. This is real. This is real epidemic that's happening right now, and we're lying and we're setting our kids up for failure. I mean, we really are, and that's why it's around this all about. It comes back to the parents too. My dad, listen, he doesn't like, he didn't like that I wore makeup and all of the nails. I remember the first day I got my nails done, it was crazy, but I never said, Dad, I'm a woman. Why? Because I am not. So for them to be included in this, I guess, movement, I don't even think we should have a flag anyway. I think the American flag is enough and it represents all of us, and our Constitution does a really good job representing all of us. You could say at one point that it didn't, but guess what? We're in 2026, not 1942. Transgender people has taken the LGB, whatever you want to call it, AQIA, and all these letters, they have taken it, smushed it on the ground, stepped on it, and made it such a dirty movement that I don't want anything to do with any of it. I like a man, and that's it, period.
That's what we're hearing mostly from the gay community, truly. And, it's funny, we're right close to Los Angeles, and West Hollywood is a thriving, gay neighborhood and gay community. And they have like this big over-the-top, ostentatious parade every year, and it's very showy and flashy. But a lot of people, they kind of call themselves like the old gays, like the traditional gays, right? And when you talk to them and hear from them, it's remarkable. They're like, we don't want to talk about it. We want to be gay and be left alone. Stop asking us. We don't want a parade. We don't want to walk around in the assless chaps. Sorry. We don't need to pay glitter all over our bodies. No one needs to see my nipples. Like, just let us live our lives. And I feel like that's what you're alluding to. We've gotten so out of control on celebrating someone's sexuality, which that's fine. It's not that we're not, I guess, happy for people. It's gotten really, really far out of control, it seems like.
100%. And I always say to people, like, I don't need you to celebrate me. I have seen it. Oh, Kyle, let me tell you, I have seen it working with the public. I do not need a parade. I don't need you to say, oh, you look good today. I don't look good today. My makeup didn't look good today. Not today.
You look amazing today.
And like, I don't need you to celebrate me because of my sexuality. It is nothing special. What goes down in my bedroom has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Okay. I don't even want to hear it from straight people. I could not care less what happens in your bedroom. Are you a good person? Do you have morals and values? And if you have kids, are you teaching it to your kids? That's what I care about. I don't care about your 17 genders, your mental disability and your mental illness. I mean, Pride Month. I mean, listen, Pride Month, at one point, though, okay, if I'm going to level, at one point I can see where they were fighting for rights, the marriage rights and the things. But, I'm 28 years old, but I'm an old school gay in the way that, listen, religious freedom would agree that marriage is between a man and a woman. Okay? I have to respect that, right? The United States of America was born off of the love of God and country. Okay. I have to respect that. Do I want to see that gay marriage be appealed. No, I don't want to see that. But, I understand. Kyle, let me tell you, let me give something to your viewers real quick. Don't ever fight for acceptance. Demand respect. That's what it is. You don't have to sit here and tell me I don't need you to accept me. Anybody, right? I don't need the straight men. I get comments from straight men all the time. It's great. They're like, "Oh, I was thinking this was going to go a certain kind of way. I was going to, not watch the video." I'm like, I get it. Yeah. But guess what you did? You watched the video, and you don't have to agree. Charlie Kirk didn't agree with my lifestyle, but he hired gay people. Mm-hmm. Trump doesn't, I could only imagine he doesn't really find the lifestyle to be that appealing. But guess what? He has pride events at, Trump Tower in New York and Mar-a-Lago. Okay. I don't need to be celebrated for my sexuality. I need to be celebrated for the things that I bring to the forefront. I'm a good person. I love family. I love country, and I love God. And that's what I want you to know. I don't want you to know that I'm gay, but I kind of put it out there. So.
Well, I love that. Okay. You love God. So does faith play a role in your life?
It really does, because I really think, and I'm not going to say that I'm the most religious person. I don't go to church on Sundays, but I have a certain kind of relationship with God. It's funny because about a month or two ago, I got into a car accident. It was my first car accident. Can you imagine? And the tow truck people, the towers, the big strong men came and they said, you should be dead right now. And I said, the first thing that I did, I have a pocket Constitution and I have a pocket Bible. I keep them on me at all times. The first thing I did was like, God, just get me through it, because this right here, I don't have time for this. I have too much to do, and it's not my time yet. Okay. The car was smashed. Wow. It was smashed. It was an Uber, no less. And the things that I have been through, like, especially being so, I'm young, I'm 28, the things that I have been through, and, the things that I prayed for are finally like coming to fruition. And that can only be one thing, and that's God. And I don't just ask him for things, I thank him for things. In my private conversations, I know that he took my mom at the right time. And that's crazy to say. I get crazy with that sometimes, because I'm like, I just want her here. But he took her at the right time. He knew that he couldn't keep her here because of the things that she had diabetes and all the things, and she was a little sick and she was getting better, but he knew that was her time. You know what I'm saying? And I thank him so much, because it's one person that I know has so much power that we don't thank enough. People only ask him for things. Start thanking him, because guess what? You woke up this morning, you're blessed beyond belief, man. Okay. You're in America. You're blessed beyond belief that you're not in North Korea. Okay. There's many different things that I just say, God showed up for me today, and it's every day.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, God has a purpose for your life, and it feels like you're just getting started. And I love hearing you speak about your faith, and thank you for sharing that with us, because, he has work for you and plans for you. And one of those things is something big and exciting that you're going to share with us for the first time, right?
Yes, it's a politically basic exclusive.
I love those.
So this whole journey has been crazy for me, because I never really thought that I was going to be in politics. I always had this idea that I could be something in somebody. I didn't know what. Okay. I've been through everything. Well, when I figured that politics was going to be the way, I understood that people would comment, and I would see comment after comment after comment. You're gay. How are you MAGA? You're gay. How are you Republican? I don't understand. I think you're faking it. I think you're a grifter. I think you're this. I think you're that. Well, Candace Owens has Blexit. Siggy Flicker has Gexit. Well, I'm starting Gexit. Okay, so I'm the founder of Gexit, and Gexit is gays leaving the Democratic Party, and we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of why gays think a certain way. Again, like we said at the top of the episode, people are more conservative than you may think, okay? The Republicans and the boogeyman conservative party, they're not coming for your rights. I have not lost one right under Donald Trump. Yet when I go to Pride in New York with my friends to interview on the street, that's another exclusive. When we go and we think of things to ask, and we ask them what rights have they lost, they can never answer us. Okay. The boogeyman is not out to get us. So it's time that we think freely, think independently, and it's okay to think for yourself. It's okay to be the outcast. When it was harder to come out as a Republican than it was gay. Okay, I never had a coming out party to be gay. My family knew it. My mom knew it when she was alive. My sisters knew it. Everybody knew it. They didn't think that I had this idea in my head that I thought a different kind of way than what the Democrat Party puts onto us. And it was a little bit harder because I lost a great deal of friends that now think I'm against them. And Kyle, I get called homophobic. How the hell can I be homophobic? I don't get it.
Super confusing, but all right.
I'm super confused, just like the 1,000 genders they made up. So it's time. It is time to exit that party, that demonizing party who tell you that they're all for your rights. I don't need more rights than a straight person. So Gexit is coming at the end of the month, and it's the perfect way to kick off July for the 250th anniversary of America. How amazing that we're in America for the 250th anniversary.
Well, I
so
love
Gexit
this.
will be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for announcing that. This is such a blessing to people who are in the exact same position that you were in, Daniel. They knew in their heart, in their being, in their minds that their values and beliefs did not align with a political party that thought that they owned you. They owned that subsection of the American public. And they don't. You're free thinkers, and you're a great representative of this community. Well-spoken, sharp, very charming. You're easy to love, Daniel, and I think that you are just going to be the best person to put this effort forward. I cannot wait to see more from you. I'm very excited to see your interviews, your Man on the Street interviews. Where can people follow you and follow along as you launch Gexit?
Yeah, so we're at Gexit USA, Instagram, TikTok, everything, everywhere, YouTube, X, and of course Daniel Speaks Up One. I have all the behind the scenes of like me in meetings about Gexit and all the things, and it's going to be super exciting. You're going to see some of your favorite creators on there as well. I don't want to give too many details, but our launch week looks really, really, really good. Some of your favorite gay conservatives, or some of the people that you may not even know, are going to be a part of this. And it's going to be a movement that I think we're partnering with United Gen. Okay. And United Gen is a new nonprofit, and they're kind of like a turning point, except they're really, really focused on bringing us all together, except, no faith, no, certain subsidies, just people. Yeah. And that's exactly what I was looking for in a partner. And you can find us everywhere, and it's going to be amazing.
We cannot wait. We're so excited to follow along. And you just have the biggest heart. And so I know it's going to go well, and you're going to have so much success with this. So thank you for sharing it today on the show. Thank you for coming on Politically Basic and just being so open and having this conversation with me. This is what I love to do with my guests, is just have the real, raw, candid conversations about these political and cultural issues. And you are just a tremendous guest, Daniel. So thank you so, so much. And I hope you'll come again in the future and we can talk more about all of these exciting initiatives you're putting forward.
Oh, you give me the call. I'm here. You're such a good, this podcast, I love listening to it. My girl Brianna was on. It was great. I love her.
Yes, we love Brianna Riddick. She's amazing. You're amazing. So thank you again.
Thank you, Kyle.
And thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of Politically Basic. We're committed to breaking down the basics so you get to decide. Be sure to check us out at politicallybasic.com and follow us at Politically Basic on all socials so you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you next time.